Hey, welcome to another episode of More Diversity. I'm excited about this because I'm talking to two directors, and I am excited to get in their head because they directed the documentary that is coming out, The Computer Accent, about the band YACHT. And for me, I have never heard of this band, and I watched this, and now I'm like a fan of this band. So I'm like super excited to I listened to their music and went through a lot, but actually watching this was a treat. But how are you guys today, Sebastian and Riel?
Doing great.
Great.
That's great to
Yeah.
hear that turned you on to the music.
No,
Yeah.
like seriously, I when I got it, I watched the trailer, I was intrigued. I was like, okay, there's a story and I want to know about it. So when I actually watched it, I actually watched it twice. I watched it again this morning. And it's a really great story to see somebody that's a creative, that's an artist. I love music. I'm a creative myself. I do, podcasting and film. So it's like to see somebody else put themselves out there and tell their journey. It was amazing. And I love what you guys did with it. I mean, I can go ahead and ask the first question because it talks about what was the direction going into this documentary? Like, did you know about the band? Like, how did you, and either one of you can ask this, but how did you come up with your direction that you wanted to do for this doc?
Yeah, I mean, I was familiar with the band, but not like we weren't like super fans or anything. It wasn't something where we were big fans of the band and we met them and were like, what do you want to do? Really, we heard about the concept. We heard about this band that was exploring artificial intelligence. We met with them and we really connected with them, and they're wanting to kind of push this boundary and do something really new. And I think Sebastian and I both had kind of cursory knowledge of artificial intelligence. I think me personally, I was still, kind of head filled with the sci-fi kind of doomsday scenarios of, Terminator, Skynet, or the Matrix, and thinking of a band kind of giving up control to robots, again, like first pitch, was really exciting. And, I think traditionally Sebastian and I, we co-founded the company Memory, and that company is mainly just, help different artists and directors create their films, and we help them on that journey as producers. And I think in this case, meeting three artists who were in this band, I think kind of made us want to collaborate with them similarly. But in this case, we took on the directing role as well. So yeah, it all felt very organic and in step with what we had been doing up until that point, even though, I guess on paper it's a little different as it's our first film directing together.
I loved it. Like I said, watching it today, I was just like, this is very beautifully, like, especially how it, like, the opening of it, and then how it just transformed into this, like, flow of story, and then how you have it cut, like, because you're also learning about AI as well. I mean, I know about it, but not knowing anything about it, my point of view, I'm learning from it. I'm like, oh, wow, they're teaching us how they're using AI as well and how it computes to making this album. Um, what made y'all choose the ratio aspect? Because it felt cinematic when y'all were there with them. What made you take the crop away and not give us full screen, but gave us this, that
Yeah.
ratio aspect of like almost feeling like a personal response to them? How was that?
Yeah. Yeah. No. I had worked on a project a while ago where we put an anamorphic lens on an actually 16:9 sensor, and it gave us this incredible 4:1 almost image. And the kind of like sketchpad film school rule of thumb was that the wider you go, the more it's about the landscape, right? Like Lawrence of Arabia, right? Like, and so I think the idea that we would situate them in Marfa, recording amongst the equipment, amongst the computers, right? Make the environment where they're having to be humans, creative and dynamic, but they're kind of caged in by the technology that they use to make this record. And that's why the interviews are 4:3, because that's a human perspective, right? Like
Right.
right now I'm looking at you on a Zoom, it's more or less right here. And so the ideas were just about like how do we communicate the human part of it, and how do we communicate the space, the literal space, and the kind of metaphorical space that they're working in
Yes.
through the lens selection and format selection. And then obviously computers are mostly 16:9, so we allowed the recordings to be full size and the interviews to be 1:5, which is a little more cinematic. And it was just a way to signal, give you positioning where you are in the movie, both in time, place, and emotion or who you're dealing with.
I think that was my favorite thing. Like, cause every time it was there, I was in the screen. Like, I was very intrigued because it felt like almost I was there, but it was just, you just see them and it was just amazing to see.
One of my favorite stuff too. So
That was one of your favorites as well.
yeah, I love that.
I liked it. Like every time I saw it, I was like, this is just cool because it almost break away from the reality of what we were actually watching, and it just puts us back with them personally of them creating. And I love that. I mean,
those are the most verite scenes. It's just them reacting
right.
to each other in the process, laughing, being frustrated, being tired. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. What is something that you learned from creating this documentary that you both could use for your careers in the future?
Directing is hard.
I learned so much. But I think the nail that really got hit home, and I'd said it before, but I think we really learned it on this one, is that movies are short. Movies really only can contain so much information. And I think, we were so excited by all the history we learned about AI, so excited about, how AI works, so excited about all these amazing projects the band has done in the past, all these people that we're interviewing, each one could be its own documentary. And at some point you start realizing, oh, this is too long. We need to make this section about, how machine learning works, more condensed, more condensed, more condensed. And so I think it's, a movie is a much more akin to a short story, than it is to a novel or something like that. And so you really have to be, you have to bite off something that's the right size. I think that's my biggest takeaway.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you learn, especially in some of these interviews, they're saying such compelling and interesting things, and you want to fit it all in there. You're like, oh, this is amazing, but if it doesn't hang on, you have to find the right arc and journey for the especially in this case, the band themselves. Like, we didn't know where they were going to go, and we didn't know if it was going to work out, if they were going to pull it off, were they going to quit, so we're constantly like having to track that journey, but then also track giving the audience the right information alongside that journey. And I think that was the greatest challenge. And keeping that in mind for the next project, I think is certainly going to be a big thing. I think you don't know what you don't know until you come face to face with it,
Right. Well, I will say, like I said, watching the trailer and then actually watching it twice, you accomplished it. And it was amazing to watch the journey for you guys and for them as well. Because, like I said, with the opening, you introducing us to them. And then right at, I think it was like 10 or 15 minutes, we're talking about their struggles with them as a band and what they did to the PR stunt basically, to get the music out. But it was to see them come from that, take this and create something new with it. And I listened to the album. I love it. I like the song that they were creating. I actually paused and went and listened to the song. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool how you're watching them build this song and then how it turned out. It was really great to watch.
Yeah,
well,
I love the record. I think the record's great, and it's a shame that it's maybe a little underappreciated. And I think the fact that we were able to get such great footage about a song that is actually on the record is just great.
No,
because there's a lot of other stuff that doesn't always yield fruit, and you have a lot of good footage that maybe doesn't. But we were lucky that most of our good footage was for stuff that made it to the album, so it was great.
Like I said, it was amazing to watch, and it's on. I probably watch it again with my buddies, like once it's fully out and everything, because it was a really great treat to watch and enjoy. With Memory, you both said y'all are like the co-founders and everything with that. do you have any projects or things that you're looking forward to in the future?
Sure. I mean, we're always working on several projects at a time because
Mhm.
they take 5 to 7 years to make. And so things we said yes to years ago, slowly move along the factory line. So yeah, we'll have new projects to announce pretty soon. And we have, we also we curate and put on events and program things on our website. And,
Okay.
we're always pretty active. So yeah, there'll be stuff coming out early next year. And, we're also getting to a point where some of our films are hitting milestones of being 5 years old or 10 years old, and we'll probably do some more interesting stuff around bringing attention to those. But I'm struggling to think if we have something that's like announceable right now. But yeah, no, we
That's okay.
definitely
I
have a
just
lot.
like that's just always like my final thought, my final
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
Sure.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Give yourself some time to promote and get people intrigued about what you have coming. But I will say, like the band Yacht, you have another fan here too. So like, because it was like I said, looking at your past and looking at the credits and everything, it's just like I said, I'm a big sucker for people's journeys and people telling their story, whether if you are a photographer, writer, director, you're artist, podcaster. I love seeing your start, your middle, and where you're going because you
Yeah.
never know who you can inspire.
Absolutely.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's what I love
No,
about.
I think the courage to really go out and express yourself and to risk something is something that's immediately compelling to people and is something that we should admire. And I'm glad that. Thank you, thank you.
No,
Yeah.
you're welcome. I appreciate you both. Any parting words? I mean, it's Halloween season right now, so I gotta ask the good question. What's
Sure.
your favorite Halloween movie?
Oh man.
Oh man, I just started
Yeah.
watching Bram Stoker's Dracula the other day,
Ooh,
and
good.
it is great. Keanu, young Keanu, Winona Ryder, Gary
Roman did all the
Oldman.
miniatures for that. That was his first thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fun watch. It's like very overly sexy and just kind of bad and great at the same time.
It be like that sometimes.
Gosh, I'm not a big horror guy. It was always felt like lose-lose to me. Either you're watching a bad movie that isn't scary or you're scared.
Uh-huh.
So I think I'll give you like a
I
interesting, I
mean,
guess.
what's the last thing that you've watched that you have enjoyed? How about that?
Oh boy. Let me finish my Halloween thing. Here's what I'll give for the Halloween movie. So I remember when Schenectady, New York came out, there was murmurings that was originally Charlie Kaufman's take on a horror film. And
Ah.
I think that film is truly terrifying. I think that is a certain
Existential horror.
existential horror. Yeah.
Yeah.
I recently watched the remake of the reboot of Hellraiser on Hulu.
Hmm.
That was
Right.
really
Yeah.
good.
Oh,
It was
our
very
friends wrote
beautiful.
that. I'm so glad that you liked it. That's great.
Huh?
Friends of mine wrote that, and I'm very
Really?
proud and excited for
It
them.
was
So that's
very
great.
beautiful, like just how it was, and for it
Oh,
to be
great.
an old classic horror, and how what they did with what they could work with and everything cinematography wise, it was great. It's real good.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you liked it. That's great.
Oh yeah, it was really good. I've watched it again, so yeah, I like horror movies. I'm a big horror buff. But
Oh,
no,
good.
thank you both
Thank you.
for coming.
Thank
I
you.
enjoyed this. I'm sorry.
Same.
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you. It was
Oh
great.
yeah, it was really good. I will be looking for. I already following your social media, so I
Oh,
will
great.
be a nice fan, checking you
Oh,
out
good,
and
good. We
supporting
put
you both.
everything there, so you'll stay in touch.
Yes, sir. Bye.
Bye.